So the last question in my list, can you suggest some of the interviewing tips and techniques to the students, please?
So I would like to say that first of all that this tips and technique that I am about to say would not always be correct. I'm not even sure if it was a good thing for me to do at the time or not, but from what I hear afterwards from my company personnel or some of the recruitment personnel that I get in touch with, it was actually a good thing. So take that in mind before I tell you. So okay, so the first thing I would like to tell you is that you should bring your laptop together with yourself when you go for the interview. And the reason behind that is because if you get a chance to show some of your work in your university life, then you can show it because your laptop is there, first of all. And another thing is that when you are attending an interview, I know it is hard for some people, but try not to be too stressed or too, how do I say it? Try not to be too stressed or having too much pressure with the interview itself. Try to be yourself and do not sit quietly, because remember that, as I said already, the interview time is the only time that the company personnel would be able to see you, and it is pretty much the only time that you get to show yourself to the company, and the company would make a judgment based on those time. So it is not like you go to see Ajahn a few times a week, or like even once a week you get to see Ajahn multiple times. So along the time, Ajahn would start to know about yourself more and more after a multiple interaction or multiple conversation. But in the case of interview, it's just one time and one time only. So I would like to say that you should try to show yourself as much as possible. But that doesn't mean that you should fake or you should try to, hide your personality to, always look good or anything like that. No. Remember that if you get to work there, you have to work there for quite some time, right? If you kind of faking the personality of you when you were doing an interview, that can be a problem in the future, in some way that the expectation of your colleague or the company is changed compared to what they saw you, the information that they get from you during the interview. So I would like to simply say that go to the interview and try to be yourself, not stress too much about it, and show yourself. I think that is the most important thing. And about those the questions and those answer and the question, I think all of you would not have that much problem with those because academic or the theoretical question is one thing, but at the end of the day, interview is something that the company would like to know about you. That's the most important thing. So I think yeah, if you can focus on that piece, and yeah, you get the positive response from the company. I hope that answered the question.
Okay, yeah. Okay, thank you very much, ครับ Taro. Okay, so Kun Taro, would you like to add something more or tell us, tell the students about anything more?
Yeah. So should it be under this topic or not? Because I think I saw some of the question that coming in was something a little bit outside of this topic, and I also would like to answer that question or talk about it a little bit if some of you are interested. What do you say, Ajahn?
What question ครับ คุณ Taro?
It is about the job facing from Natanai.
From Natanai, you can just like
The handling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can just like answer to him ครับ no problem ครับ คุณ Taro.
Okay, thank you. So maybe if I can speak a little bit about my working experience, that the way I work at the moment is working as a team in the sprint based, let's say, system. So I am working as a back-end developer, just because I haven't mentioned that clearly yet, but yeah, I am working as a back-end developer, which I am responsible in the back-end code, which is being done by C#.NET Core, and also the database part. So I have to write some SQL script to update the database or to install the table, and to write the backend code that would basically the API that would be cooperated with those changes or any changes that I was asked to do. And I have actually encountered many of the let's say unknown bug, some bug that is not easy to debug, or some bug that it is hard to find a solution. So first thing I would try to do is to look up the library to see the use case of the method or the part of the code that feels like some buggy, let's say, that caused the exception or the error. So I would investigate on that first, and if in terms of the syntax or in terms of the use case it is using in the correct way, then the next thing I would do is to search online first to see if that issue have been discussed in anywhere or not. So sometimes you will not see in the Stack Overflow, but you will see in the bug report or the change report in the project of the library or something like that. So sometimes you have to spend an hour or two or quite some time to investigate on that issue or that situation that you're facing at the time. And if that is still not working, then the next step is obviously to report that issue to the developer who is responsible of those library or those projects, say. And to wait for their response. So the way you contact the developer or the teams of the library or the code that you're writing. So you go to the website of the project, and then there will often, most of the time, there will be a contact information, whether it's something called the Slack, which is a channel, open channel. Maybe for some of you, if you know what it is called, it is similar to Discord. Yeah. So it is the open channel that anyone can access and ask questions. So some of the project team has prepared those kind of channel for the developer outside to ask the question. So I can contact them via that, or sometimes via email, or even in the bug report or the change report of the GitHub. Yeah, so that would be the procedure that I would take to solve the problem. And of course, before that, it is based on assumption that I already did all the debugging and everything, and all the number or the result that I see during the debug seems to be correct, but at the end of the day, it doesn't work because of an unknown problem, then I will take this procedure.
Okay, now we have another question from Grit. Okay. Oftentimes, the employer lists their salary as negotiable. What is the recommended amount that we should call as a newly grad student?
Well, that is really a tricky question, because let's say I know that the paying is something very important, and I strongly agree with that. It is something that would motivate you, and it would also help you grow in some way. Because if you have enough spend money in your pocket, you'll be, let's say, in terms of the mentally you'll be feel more comfortable about it also, right? If you have certain amount of money, let's say, that you feel satisfied with, or you don't feel worrying about your future, yeah, that would be a positive effect on you also. And one more thing that it is often being told among us, the student, and maybe to certain extent when we ask Ajahn, that the newly graduate from the computer science or computer engineering fields often being paid higher than some other field, or what the newly graduated often being paid. So I will give you some example number that I often hear from many people. So in terms of the Thai new graduate, some, and I would say some of them would get paid around 18K to 20K. Okay, that, or maybe if it is slightly higher, then it would be 25K or something like that. But so you can imagine that it can be around that number or slightly higher than that. But one thing to let you know is that most of the time the company have rate of paying for the newly graduated or the new joiner in the company anyway. So negotiable is indeed, yes, negotiable, but there is a market value of the company. Often know the market value of the position that you are applying for anyway, and most of the time they would follow those market value. So it is not easy to say that it is really negotiable or anything like that. But of course, you can ask them if you maybe you can get slightly higher than what they offered, or maybe the number that were in your mind, or something like that. So I think the judgment or the whether you would like to negotiate or not would come after you get an offer. So when you get an offer with the actual number, then that can be the time that you can start thinking about the number, whether it is the number that you're satisfied or not. But remember that you are newly graduated, you never have an experience, and you are applying for non-senior, let's say, non-senior position. Yeah. So I think yeah, that would be all I can say.
Okay ครับ คุณทาโร่ I have a word from อาจารย์กฤตยานะครับ
Yes.
I know that your internship format was different than this batch, but when I hear you mention it, I think it may be useful to share if you could still recall your experience and challenges during your internship ครับ
Yeah. Yeah, I think I can share some story about that. So the internship program that I went was only 1.5 months during the summer period. As some of you already asked, it is very different compared to the cooperative education program that you are attending at the moment. So of course, in terms of the company perspective, it was not as easy as the other company to find to get an internship places, because of the period that is too short compared to the real internship program, because it's only 6 weeks, 1.5 months, which in terms of the company perspective, you cannot complete any kinds of a project, a real project. So yeah, I was fortunate that I could get an internship in one company. Ajahn, if you may, I would like to say the company name. Would you mind?
Not at all.
Okay, thank you. So I went to the company called IT1. So this company has a structure of the outsourcing company. That means you will get assigned to a certain project that would happen on site, on the client side. And I was assigned to a project of the SCG logistic. So you know what SCG is, right? It is Siamese Cement Corporation. So when I went to interview, I went to the company building of IT1. But when I start working as an internship student, I went to work on site in the SCG group building. So where the company is and where you are working would be different places. That was the experience that I had. And another thing was about what I was how do I say it? What I was dealing with. So the project was done via to create the software. I think it was a transportation software to track all the transportation flow of the logistical system that the SCG was dealing with at the time. So as you can predict from the name, the client name was SCG Logistic. So it was something to do with the shipping of the package or the transportation of the package, and the way that the company, the system would track those information, whether the package number 123 reach the site or not, or whether it is being stored at the intermediate storage place or the temporary storage place or not, and how do you schedule moving those package. I see something in the chat.
โอเคครับคุณทาโร่ I get some more words นะครับ from อาจารย์กฤตยา She said that for your information, if I don't remember wrong, the latest MUIC annual report lists the average salary for CS grads at 31K.
Correction, employment report. Sorry.
Employment report นะครับอาจารย์
Okay.
Yes, accessible on the internet.
Okay.
I see.
And the question, how much and in what way did the internship experience influence your choice of career ครับ
First of all, about the average paying there, I agree with the paying. That is actually the number that I think most of the people are getting paid. So yeah, I think that is very accurate and would answer the question of some of you about that I couldn't really answer that well. So the influence of the internship, that is very interesting question, because I was about to continue in the internship story, that the language, the programming language that I had to deal with at the time was C#, the language that I am working on at the moment. But the interesting thing was that at the time I had zero, and indeed zero experience with C#. And on top of that, C# was used as front end, not back end, because the back end they were using Java. So there was some slightly more challenging thing that I get to do in the internship. So based on that, after the 1.5 month of internship, I could say, I could simply write in my resume that I can write a code with C#. So I think that pretty much explains the how influential was the internship towards my career. I get another programming language in my skill list, and indeed that helped me a lot when I joined this company that use C# as backend. So that was one thing. Another thing was that I could get an experience with one of the type of the company that I never had a chance to, that is outsourcing system. And I could start to understand my whether I prefer this system or not. And the answer to that was no. I did not like the outsourcing system, because the fact that the location of workplace can change over time, can be something that in a long term I would I would not enjoy too much about, because so actually in the interview and those kind of thing about those outsourcing company interview that I went, I actually asked them about the site, about the client site that people often go, and I could get some of the confirmation from the personnel that if some of the company member does not prefer going to, for example, the country outside of the Thailand or the provinces outside of Bangkok, they can also mention that or mention that prior to the assignment to the project, and in that case they will get assigned within Bangkok or within Thailand, depending on how you set it. But to me, I feel like I wanted to have my own desk on a fixed location of the company that I can work with, because when I get familiar with the places, I tend to be working more comfortable and have a better performance, let's say, in that way. I am not a kind of a person that would like to change the environment too much about the working condition. Yeah, so I think that are the very two big influence on my choice of career in the future. And speaking of that, may I ask one more thing about the interview, if you don't mind?
Sure.
So in the interview, yes. So in the interview, sometimes you get a chance to ask the question to the company personnel from yourself. And one of the questions that I asked almost all the time to every interview that I went was the career path. So I would like to see how my career develop in the future, from now, 2 years in the future, 4 years in the future, 5 years in the future. How do the company view their employee in terms of their career growth or something like that. So that would often come with the answer of the career path that those companies are having in their system. So you can start to see how your future would, can look like, and how can you write the roadmap of your future. Yeah.
Okay, Kuntaro, there is a question
Yes.
from
Yes.
the audience. If we need to work somewhere far from our house, do you recommend we rent a place near workplace to live there during co-op-ed or drive there? Okay. So co-op-ed is 4 months. Yeah.
I see. So it is possible, but when you think about the period that you start working, and when you finish it, it's 4 months, right? I do not see that renting a place is a choice, because in many cases, when you rent a place, you get to sign a contract of at least 1 year. So to rent a place for 1 year, but you expected to use in full capacity for only 4 months, probably is not a good idea. Of course, if you can find a places that you can rent for a fixed period of time that you prefer, then that that might be a choice. I see. Well, it is something that to a certain extent you cannot avoid, right? Since we are in Thailand, we are in the country where there's a lot of cars. So that's why I would say one of the criteria for you to choose a company that seems to be quite important recently is the location of the company. So if your company is located around the train stations, whether it's BTS or MRT, then you know it might take some time, but you can assure that you can get in there within a fixed amount of time, right? So in that case, you can schedule yourself and of your daily schedule better, and let's say more reliable and more accurate. So there will be less cases of the going late by the accident, the car accident on the road, or any problem on the traffic system, right? So I think that would be the advices that I can give to you. Otherwise, then yeah, you have no choice but to drive or the rent places, as you said. But yeah, I think it's actually a good try to do both, whether to rent a places or to drive there. You'll get an experience in either one of those anyway when you choose to do so, and that might be some experience that you realize that okay, when you would start working, what do you prefer? How do you prefer to go to your company? In what way? So to me, I was okay because both internship places and the company that I'm working at the moment are located around the train system. So I can just go by BTS or MRT every day on a fixed amount of time, or most of the time. If the BTS or MRT does not have those traffic issues that they have sometimes, yeah. So hopefully that answers your question.
By the way, Kun Taro, where is your office located? And is it near to the BTS or MRT right now?
I would say it is located at Chitlom, BTS Chitlom. Not sure if you know the building or not, but my building is located besides the Mercury Mall.
All right, that's
So,
opposite
yeah,
to Central Chitlom, right?
Yes, that's the opposite to Central Chitlom indeed.
Oh,
so
okay.
you can drop at the Chitlom, BTS Chitlom, and just walk there. It would take less than 5 minutes to the office. So yeah, that can pretty much summing up how I view the working in the company in terms of going there. Yeah.
Okay,ครับ. Okay, any other question from the audience?
I would like to just add a little bit more. Right now, we will have my company personnel, a recruitment personnel, by the way, that she is free to have any question answer from you guys. So I think it is a good chance for you to answer the question, maybe in terms of the recruitment perspective or anything if you want to ask about the company that I am in at the moment. Because as Ajahn already said before, we are interested to accept some of you if you want to into our company as part of the cooperative education program. So her name is Kun Fon, and yeah, she is happy to answer your question.
Okay. สวัสดีครับคุณฝนครับ
สวัสดีค่ะ Hello everyone and good afternoon. My name is Ford. I'm responsible for recruitment program at Elysian Next team. So thank you for having me here and hope I can help answer some of the questions for you.
So maybe just a small background of the company. Oh, there's some question there from Thomas.
Yeah. Are there any instant red flags during recruitment process?
I assume the red flags mean like you saying no for the candidate if I don't understood the question.
Yes, I think it is correct.
Okay, so well, I think it depends on the policy of the company. In Elysian perspective, what we from the candidate is more like, first of all, the skill sets, especially for the developers team. And beside that, we are looking for the right personality for the company. Because as you might know, some of the technology companies nowadays, they're more like lively place and like easygoing. So we're not looking for the very serious or nerdy one who doesn't might get along well with the company culture, things like that. So if during the interview we see that this person might be too serious, that might be the red flag for us. Or the character of not like not confident, for example, or doesn't look like you're passionate enough to learn new things during the job.
Yeah, so that would link to the answer of my answer that I have answered before a little bit. So as I said, the company would like to see your personality during the interview, because as I said, that is the only time that the company get to know about you. So as Kun Phon already explained there, so I think it is really important to show the company of your personality, because yes, of course, the personality of a candidate that the company would expect can be different, but at the same time, it is important for you to let them know who you are, so that otherwise then they could not even make a proper judgment, right? Because they pretty much don't know about you. So I think it is important to show your personality.
Okay.
Related to red flags and the previous question about the resume, I would like to ask Kun Phon if along the same line, if there's, because the resume is the first thing that you're going to see about an applicant. So is there any green flags or are there any red flags on a resume? If you're allowed to answer that, like if
Sure, because I'll be happy to share this, because in this position you got to see tons of resumes, so you can see the difference from the very good one to the very that this one is not ready for the work yet. Let's start off from the format, like very beginning, because if you send out the resume with the editable format, I would not suggest that. For me, I would think that, well, you shouldn't like send out the editable format of your profiles to someone. So this is the thing that looked at the very beginning. And also from the look of the resume, first, it depends on the position that you're applying for, though. If, for example, we have the UX UI position available. So in this position, you might have to be very good at designing something. So if your resume can reflect your skills too, that would be great. And for the developer, I like it when they put it in the scaling of all the technical skills that they know or they have the experience. So so we know that which one they feel confident with, which technical skill that they have the experience but might not like very good at it, things like that. But I would recommend you put as much as possible for your technical skills. And if you like to go on the like the designing, putting some colorful or very nice looking resume, that is not a problem too. But don't put too much information, like should be maximum of 2 pages, because if it's like 3 pages, they already lost the lost in the information. I would say you don't know where you should be looking at. So keep something for the interviewer to ask you during the session, during the one-on-one or face-to-face meeting. But don't just put all the information on written. It's all just letters. Like I have met those candidates who put in a very nice resume, but like the very good word and all looking like wow, full of experience. But during the face-to-face session, those candidates didn't do very well during the session. So it's more important, like put in the most important information, the direct keyword, the important keyword to the position that you're applying for. Yes.
My last question, because Kun Taro mentioned about problem-solving skills that are important and consistent across all the job interview. So I just wonder if students should put in soft skills on their resume also, and scale it or rank it like as you suggested for the hard skills.
Yeah. I recommend to put those soft skills in the list too, because like I mentioned before, that we tend to look into the character or the personality of the candidate too. It's not just the skill set. So if we know some of those soft skills that you might have, then sometimes it's convince the interviewer to want to know you more about the why do you think you are the problem solver, things like that. That might bring like more question.
ขอบคุณค่ะ
ค่ะ
โอเคครับ thank you very much นะครับ for your time นะครับ for คุณฝน and คุณ Taro as well นะครับ your talk today is very very useful for our students a lot นะครับ and I hope that they can use like this information for applying for a job in the future or applying for their cooperative education position as well นะครับ okay thank you very much ครับ and for the students นะครับ please don't go yet นะครับ because we have the assignment for you นะครับ อาจารย์กฤตยา will explain about that นะครับ โอเคครับ thank you ครับ คุณ Taro and คุณฝนครับ สวัสดีครับ สวัสดีครับ
Thank you very much.
You're welcome ครับ
So let me share the screen, and this is already posted on Canvas. So it's assignment 2 underneath module 2. So module 2 starts with the resources, where we have a list of places for as internships in the past few years, and as well as companies that stop by to give seminar to recruit students for internships and for job as well. So on that assignment, similar to what Taro has introduced, but in this session, I would like you to list 3 information. So the first thing, I would like you to find job position that you would like to apply to and rank them from the most preferred to the least prefer. And how do you find job positions? On the resource page link from this assignment, actually, you can also find a link to MU Job Fair as well as MUIC Career Counseling. Sorry, I cannot remember the name of that Facebook page, but there are also list of company listed. And or you can use those job database that are available and look up the technology job, IT jobs, and see what are available as the current industry require. And you can pick from there. So you might have to do research into what are duties and responsibilities for each position. But you have to think ahead, because if you wish to go for internship this summer, you don't have much time. At this point, you have about 2 months and a bit. And as Pitaro mentioned, the length of waiting period before they call you in is undeterminable. So the sooner we get this done, the better is for you. And as Kun Fon has suggested, your resume should be adjusted according to the position that you are applying to. So you need to start thinking about that. And another thing that I got this idea from Pitaro is that you should also draft your career path if you can. Once you graduate, a couple of years after you graduate, 5 years from then, what would you like to do? If you cannot do it at this point, it's fine. But if you have something like that, I think it's nice to share it with your fellow classmates. The second item also rank a couple of criteria of working condition that you prefer, because when you start for job search, it's a big pool of possibilities, especially in IT jobs, and where to go to. And the more you know about what you prefer or what you need, the better. So this could be in terms of what you want or what you don't want. So you can rank them according to your preference. Like from what I gather from Kuntaro is that he didn't want to deal with traffic. He loves to have fixed desk at his workplace. And I also give my example on the assignment page. And the last one, since now you think already about job position, you think about the working conditions, these two should help you narrow down the companies or organization that you would like to have your co-op-ed with. And this is not limited to companies. It could be some research institute that offer internship doing research, and then you get paid for that. That's also included. I think, right, Ajahn Permin, if I'm wrong, let me know, because Ajahn Permin is qualified for making that call, but I'm not.
That everything is correct ครับอาจารย์กฤษยาครับ for
Okay,
the
thank
thing.
you.
Yeah ครับ
Yeah, so that's are 3 things that this assignment has asked you to do, and this is the forum format. So I know that some people are not that keen on sharing like who you are, but this is a good practice, because as you have experience from our speakers, you will have to open yourself up anyway. So, and by sharing this information, you could find that some of your classmates might share the similar goals on certain area, and then you can further exchange information, like look at this company, look at that position, and hopefully that could bring you to get to know yourself better and discover a co-op-ed place that really fit you. And this is gonna be due before the next class. Thank you. Oh, I see a question. Oh, is there any additional question? No. Okay, that's it for my part, ค่ะ อาจารย์ Berman.
Okay ครับ thank you ครับอาจารย์กฤษยาครับ so on the next class นะครับ we will have another talk right ครับอาจารย์กฤษยาครับ it will be the
Oh
talk
yes.
as well นะครับ
Yes.
Okay.
So link to from this one, it would be the workshop. I would rather say on writing your resume and preparing the cover letter.
ครับ
And Ajahn, there is a question for Tasfir.
from that
Could the video be posted?
Oh yes, sure ครับ I'll edit the first part first before the class start because I start recording since 9:50, so I just like cut that part off and then I'll upload through YouTube and send the link on our canvas นะครับ it should be ready by yeah ครับ
Sorry, can we post that on Discord too? Because
yes,
I
sure.
realized that I didn't announce it that promptly enough for the other students, especially the fourth year who are looking for jobs.
Okay, sure ครับ I'll post on 2 places. It should be ready by this late afternoon.
Thank you.
ครับ You're welcome ครับ So class, do you have any other questions to ask us? Okay, so I don't see any question in the chat box นะครับ So if you don't have any questions, then you have a nice day and have a nice weekend. We'll see each other again on next Friday นะครับ Bye
And
bye
don't forget
everyone.
the assignment.
Okay ครับ